Welcome from Santa Rosa PT. So this is my first time doing a Zoom class. It's going to be interesting, so it's a learning experience for us all. If you can mute yours so that people can hear me, that would be great. And it's time, 12:15. Okay, so today my Pilates class in the next 6 weeks is really about learning how to organize your body. It's not a hard workout thing. I want it to be educational because there's a ton of things that you can see on all the different Zoom classes. But my focus is going to be on education of our bodies and how we use them. And so you can take that going out into the real world and move in an organized way, putting less stress and strain on your body. Today, in the link I sent, hopefully you saw the little pictures of the abdominal wall, because today's focus is going to be on breathing, axial elongation with some core engagement, and learning how to organize ourselves so we can move off of a stable base. And so that abdominal wall that you're looking at or that you saw, your deepest abdominal is your transverse abdominis, muscle that comes off the back, wraps around to the front. And it stabilizes our spine on a very deep level. The amount of stabilization you need with those deep abdominals varies towards your task. So today we're not going to do a lot of hard work. We're going to find that muscle, make it come on and help stabilize. You need all your muscles. So you have the other picture showed the internal obliques, the external obliques, the rectus abdominis. They all come over to stabilize you also, but we're going to find those lower ones first. And we're going to talk today also about alignment, because I want you to think as we're moving through the world, if we keep our head, shoulder, rib cage, pelvis in alignment, there's going to be less stress and strain and shear on our joints. So today when we're doing things, we're going to find that neutral alignment, engage those abdominals, keep length in our spine. Each week we'll take a little bit different focus. So just sitting here, I want everybody to sit up nice and tall on your sit bones. If you're uncomfortable in cross sitting, you could be on a chair, you could have your legs out, halfway bent, fully bent. Find a comfortable sitting position, equal pressure on both sit bones. And first I want to focus on your breathing. Breathing is so important, especially now with what we have going on, but what we want our breathing to do is to happen down low in our rib cage. You're using your diaphragm, you're using your lateral and back part of your ribs. Our ribs are going to come out like this as we're breathing in. So let's just take a couple of breaths. You're going to think about being tall, long spine, breath in, put your hands on your rib cage. As you breathe in, span that rib cage into the back and sides, and then exhale. On the exhale, you're just gently letting the ribs fall back down. As I breathe in, the ribs flare out to the sides and back. As I exhale, they come down. So you can feel that. Then let's try and feel in this position, and we're going to do it sitting, we'll also do it laying down, is find that transverse abdominis. So if you take your 2 fingers and gently put them just inside that ASIS bone, or there's 2 top hip bones, and you're just going to gently palpate so you can see if those muscles are turning on. So what you're going to do is take a breath in, exhale slowly, gently. You can turn your pelvic floor on a little bit and think about those 2 front hip bones being pulled together. They don't actually get pulled together, but there's a tensioning underneath your fingers. As I do that, I'm not going to lose my pelvic position. I'm going to keep my neutral spine position. And just gently feel, and you'll feel a little tensioning. And that's your lowest, deepest abdominal. If you feel a hard push, you're using too many other muscles. So it should just be a gentle tensioning. You can also think of the cue of just pulling your navel up towards the back of your head. Different cues work for different people, but just spend another time, breath in, exhale, engage those muscles. Just feel them. We're going to go down and explore that laying down and start getting into some of the exercises. So if you have a mat, that's great. If you want a pillow and your head isn't comfortable flat, you can use a pillow, you can use folded towels, whatever you need to help you get in that comfortable position. So we're going to get in hook line position, feet on the floor, and we're going to explore finding neutral spine position. So to find that, I want you to make a triangle with your fingers, okay? And my thumbs together and my forefingers, I'm going to take that hand triangle. My thumbs are on my belly button and my fingers are on my pubic bone. And what I want when I'm in neutral is that those two are going to be in the same plane. One's not going to be flipped up higher than the other. So put your hands there, and I want you to explore. We're going to go into a posterior pelvic tilt. So now my forefingers are higher than my thumbs that are on my belly button. That's a posterior pelvic tilt. And now take yourself and explore and bring your thumbs higher. So my tailbone's going down, anterior pelvic tilt. And just rock back and forth a few times. And everybody's neutral is a little different. Some people have more lordosis, some have less, but just rock. And then I want you to settle in the middle and find that position where your thumbs and your forefingers are in the same plane. You have a slight arch in your low back. And this is what we're going to try and maintain this alignment as we do it. For me, I often find myself going into the posterior pelvic tilt and my tailbone tucked underneath me, but that's not a functional way to engage my core abdominals. So I'm going to keep my tailbone down, and I have to remind myself to get there. So as you're doing exercises, when I'm saying neutral spine, you can check yourself with your triangle. Think about your upper chest and neck too, okay? I'm going to look at my ribs. I don't want my ribs popped way up. I want my ribs in line with my pelvis. I'm going to look at my shoulders. I'm going to relax, let my sternum relax down, let my shoulder blades settle sort of down into my back. So you're going to get in that neutral position, and now we're going to find that transverse abdominis again. So breath in through the rib cage. On the exhale, slowly, gently, feel that pelvic floor come on, and then tighten between those two front hip bones and feel that tensioning. Okay, so we found those muscles. Now we're going to put a little movement onto those muscles. So I'm going to be articulating at the hip, keeping this in neutral. So femur arcs. Breath in, exhale, engage, and just fold at your hip, leg coming up to tabletop position and lowering. So we're just exploring, organizing our body, keeping the head, neck, rib cage all in line as we're moving at the hips, okay? And this is just education on finding those muscles and moving. As I lift my thigh, I'm not letting my back go out of its neutral spine position. So we're going to up the ante if you're comfortable. If you're not, you don't need to bring both legs up, but we're going to go into tabletop position. So breath in through the rib cage. Exhale, turn on those lower abdominals, float one leg up. Lift your heel, slide the leg up, and come to tabletop position. See if you, when you get here, this is mindful movement, so I want you to pay attention to what's going on at the other areas. Of course, we're trying to keep our neutral spine here, but I'm going to keep my neck, chest relaxed through there. Once I'm here, we're going to do some dropping the foot down, the toe down towards the ground. I'm moving at my hip and bring it back up. Breath in, exhale, lower, and back up to tabletop. Again, if you're finding back pain or you can't stabilize in this position, you're going to do one leg at a time, keeping one leg down. So let's go through these femur arcs. Okay. Moving at the hip. This is my axis of motion. So I'm thinking about differentiating my leg movement from my lumbar pelvic movement. Okay, you should feel those lower abdominals working. I don't have to work super hard, but they are on stabilizing my back as I'm dropping my foot down. If you find you can't go all the way down to the ground, that's okay. You'll go part way down. Okay, it's about the control, not how far you're moving. Let's do one more each side. And bring both legs down. So now we're going to explore doing some arm movements off of that tabletop position. But again, if you're not comfortable in tabletop, just keep one leg up or keep the feet down. What I'm going to focus as this is again, movement organization. As my arms are going up overhead, I'm not going to go into a position where my back is arching or my rib cage is lifting up. I'm going to keep my neutral spine position. So if you're comfortable, come on up into tabletop, one leg, the other leg up, my lower abdominals on, thinking of length through my spine, okay, that axial elongation. My head's reaching away from my tailbone. I keep length in my spine. Breath in. Let the arms go up overhead, okay, keeping my neutral spine. Exhale. Pulling down. Float the arms up. Exhale. Coming down. What's happening at your rib cage as your arms go up? If I can only go to here before I feel like my ribs are going to pop, that's as far as I'm going. What's happening at my shoulder blades? Before I lift, I'm just gently reaching my shoulder blades back and down and then letting them float up with my hands, keeping my shoulders out of my ears. So with mindful movement, we're just paying attention. What's going on in our other body parts while I'm moving my arm? Am I able to keep that neutral spine position? Tailbone down, little bit of arch. One more. Reach the arms up and coming down. Okay, and then let's bring one leg down and the other. So hopefully you found those lower abdominals, you found your alignment, keeping everything together. Another principle of Pilates is spinal mobility. So we're going to work right now, before right there we were working on that stability, finding those lower abdominals. Now we're going to work on doing some spine curl from the bottom up to get some mobility in our spine. So feet on the floor, hip width apart. Again, soften your sternum, relax your shoulders, lengthen your neck. I'm going to take a breath in. As I exhale, I'm going to pull my navel towards my spine, curl my tailbone up to my pubic bone, and start peeling my lumbar spine off the floor. I'm going to come up until my hips are about in line with my knees. I can think about pulling my sit bones to my heels. Once I'm here, breath in, and I'm going to start at my top vertebra, and I'm going to drop down my rib cage, my thoracic spine, and I'm trying to focus that I'm laying down one vertebra at a time. So I call this, I love this one because it's like nutrition to the spine. As I'm working through each joint, I'm getting a little bit of stretching in that joint capsule. I'm getting a little bit of circulation to each lumbar thoracic joint. I come up, I'm thinking about using my glutes here a little bit, pushing my sit bones to my heels. Take a breath in, exhale, drop down one at a time. And again, you're going to go to the point where it feels comfortable for your back. If it doesn't feel good going up that high, you're not going to go that high. You can limit the range of motion. But what we're looking for here is articulation. Breath in, exhale, tailbone towards the pubic bone, peel up one at a time. Push through your heels, sit bones towards your heels. I get to the top, breath in. I'm visualizing that my spine is a strand of pearls, and I'm going to drop one pearl down at a time. Usually getting to those lower spines, that's where I'm really sticky, and I have to really focus on trying to get that sequential movement. We're going to do one more. Breath in, exhale, curl up, tailbone towards the pubic bone, peel off the floor, one at a time. Still keeping length, seeing where my head, shoulders are. Breath in, exhale, top vertebra's coming down. Dropping one pearl at a time down. coming all the way down, and then settle that tailbone down, okay? So that's warmed up from the bottom up. We're going to do some spine curl from the top down. So you can come up into a sitting position, hips and knees bent. And we're going to do just a little bit of just going back and feeling how we're sequentially moving. Again, it's organization. I'm going to be sitting up, holding on underneath my thighs. I'm going to take a breath in. As I take that breath in, I'm lengthening my spine, axial elongation. I'm going to curl in, starting at the pelvis, at the bottom, tucking my tail underneath there, rocking back, okay? And I'm going to see where I can go, and I can use my hands here for support, okay, because it's hard without the hands, but we're going to start with hand. You're going to go down and then curl back up, stacking those vertebrae up one at a time. So this is an easier version. We're going to do it one more time. Breath in, get tall. Tuck underneath. Use your hands for support if you need it. Coming back, feel where you can go, keeping your feet on the ground. Breath in, exhale, curling up. I'm stacking those vertebrae one on top of the other. So for more challenging, rolling down, we can do with your legs all the way out straight, okay? Up tall. If you're not comfortable with this, you do the first variation. Up tall, sitting on my sit bones, breath in, exhale. I'm going to pull my navel towards my spine and rounding my lumbar spine. And again, I'm trying to be sequential from the bottom, going down all the way, and then float your arms overhead. Coming up, breath in, exhale. I'm going to let my gaze look down towards my belly button, curling up. I'm using my deep neck flexors here to bring myself up, articulating one at a time. Now, if this is hard, you're going to keep with the knees bent and holding on to your knees, okay? Or you can do this with a partially neck bent knees, or you can do the holding on. So different variations. Once I'm up here, I'm going to explore a rolling forward over a beach ball. I can soften my knees. I'm really thinking about rounding and elongating, making a really long arc with my spine. Then I'm going to stack back up, tall, lengthen. Then explore this one more time. Breath in, exhale, round out, articulate down with control. Again, if you're needing to have your knees bent or hold onto your thighs, no problem. And then reach the arms over. Breath in, exhale, scapula coming down into my small back. My gaze goes down towards my belly button and rolling up. You need to have your knees bent, fine. All the way up. Holding up tall, we're going to go forward over a big beach ball. Breath in, lengthen the spine, pull the navels to the spine and reach over that ball. Feel a stretch throughout your low back. You can soften your knees so if your hamstrings are getting in the way. And then lift up one vertebra at a time. Okay? So that's just getting that articulation and movement happening in that lumbar spine, using our abdominals for that. We're going to go back down into a supine position, feet on the floor. When we found a little bit of those lower abdominals, let's work a little bit of upper abdominal muscles and the more superficial ones, still maintaining using our lower guys here. But we're going to do a little bit of a chest lift. So hands behind the head. I'm going to take a breath in, exhale, look down, and just lift up a little bit. So now you're going to feel a little bit more here. I still engage down through here, but I'm using a little bit of those upper abdominals, more superficial. Think of your hands being like a coat hanger. They're not going to pull on your neck, okay? They're going to stay wide like a coat hanger. Breath in, exhale. My gaze goes down towards my belly button. I lift up, hold there, and then come back down. I'm going to try as much as I can to keep from tucking my tailbone underneath as I do this. So I'm isolating, coming up, holding there, gazing down, and come on back down. So that's a little bit different than when you had your legs up in tabletop position. You're feeling a different set of muscles. Breath in, exhale, lifting, holding, breathing, and coming down. Try not to grip with your hip flexor muscles here. That's hard for me to do. I'm just going to do a couple more. Breath in, exhale. Come on up, lift down, hold. And come on down. Breath in, exhale. My gaze goes down, lifting up. So my scapular just coming up and coming back down. Right. Okay, so we're going to get a little bit of hip movement going on now off of a stable pelvis. Okay, so we're learning to differentiate our hip movement from our lumbar spine movement. But first, let's get just some gentle stretching of the hamstrings. So I'm going to keep my tailbone down, find that neutral spine position, tailbone staying down, and then I'm straightening my knee. Those hamstrings attach from your ischial tuberosity down below your knee, okay? So what I'm thinking as I'm extending my knee is that I'm reaching from my heel towards my buttocks area. Equal and opposite pressure. I'm not going to come up so far that my back is rounding, because what I want to isolate is extension of the hamstrings, not so much the back. So one more knee extension, keeping your back in neutral, and now do a few ankle pumps. A little bit of calf motion here. 2 more. Again, you're going to go to the point where it's comfortable for you. If you're down here, that's fine. You want to feel stretched, but not pain. Okay? So now we're going to do some leg circles using our core stabilization here, feeling that we're trying to keep, as much as we can, our pelvis in a neutral position. You can have your opposite leg bent, that's a little bit easier, or you can have it straight, okay? What's going to be happening with your moving leg is you're taking a breath in, bring the leg out to the side, exhale and reach up. I'm imagining I've got 2 glasses of wine on my hip here, and I'm trying, not going to keep it totally stable, but as much as you can, because what I want is the hip joint moving off of a neutral pelvis. So breath in, reach up. One more time. Breath in, reach up. Again, finding difficulty, have the other knee bent. I'm going to do this set with this. We're going to go the opposite direction. Breath in, leg down, reach up. Where's your breath happening? Down low. One more. Good. Bring that knee in towards your chest and just stretch. Okay, let's go to the left leg, or whichever leg you weren't doing last time. Gently hold it underneath your thigh and get that hamstring lengthened out. Tailbones down. Reaching the heel away from the buttock. Feel the length. And for me, I've got to feel what's happening at my neck because I was starting to tuck my chin out. So get your upper body in line also. Good. One more stretch on that hamstring. And now a few ankle pumps. Pulling the toes to the nose, elongating behind the knee and the calf. Okay. So again, choose your position. Knee bent, other knee bent, foot on the floor, or leg straight. Okay. If you can't do this one with a straight knee, you can be slightly bent for this too, okay? Depends on the length of your hamstring. And my circle that I do depends on the flexibility that I have in those muscles, okay? Breath in, out to the side, reach up. And I'm putting my hands on my ASIS, giving myself a little monitor here. Am I wiggling all over the place? If so, I'm going to bend this knee, give myself a little bit more stabilization. One more in this direction. Now breath in, exhale, down, out, up. One more. Okay. Let's go back, and I probably should have had you do some bent knee fallouts first to get that feeling of stabilization with hip rotation. So we're going to go back to a position, one leg straight, other leg, foot, knee bent, foot on the ground. Have your two hands on your two front hip bones. You've got your two martinis. I'm going to martini time now. And I'm going to be doing a bent knee fallout. So what I want with this is I'm going to engage those lower abdominals. Find your neutral spine. I was getting out of mine. Engage my lower abdominals and let your leg go out to the side and come back in. And what I want to feel is that I am not rotating my hip. Now there's another set of muscles that are your stabilizing muscles for your deepest stabilizing muscles. We talked about the transverse abdominis. Your multifidi are muscles that go between each little vertebra in your back. And they're like little guide wires that stabilize you. So when I'm pulling in my lower abdominals, I want to think about those deep lumbar muscles coming on a little bit to help control with this hip rotation. Okay, so my foot's on the floor, two ASIS bones staying up top right here. And I'm only going to let my leg go out as far as I can without my pelvis rotating. Do a couple more on this left side. And be exploring what is happening. And do you feel, we're going to do one more, those core muscles on, let the leg go out only as far as you can without your spine or your pelvis rotating. We're going to switch sides. So in this mindful movement, we're thinking about, is there a difference between the two sides? Breath in, exhale. Let your leg go out. Feel that rib-hip connection. Feel those hip bones staying up. And for me, I've got more range on this right side. It's easier for me, and I have more control. It's not just range, it's control. It's easier for me to control my pelvis and my neutral spine position and get some movement in this right hip than it is on my left. So that's an awareness for me, and I'm going to maybe have to do a little bit more mindfulness when I'm doing my left side. Explore and see what works for you. We're going to do a few more. As you go out, you're getting lengthening of that inner thigh. You're getting stabilization off your lumbar spine. So what this really translates to in real life is things like just getting out of the car, okay? Learning to have that stability, move at the hips as you're getting out of the car, and that you have the hip mobility and the trunk stability. So we're going to try and take these movements. Let's do one more into real life. And come on back up. Now just bring your knees to your chest and do a little rolling and stretching through there. So we've been doing a lot of flexion, okay, but our spine works in extension also. So we're going to turn over, get onto your stomach. If you're uncomfortable on your stomach, you can always just put a pillow underneath your belly right there, okay? If not, you're going to be down on your tummy. And we're, I'm really stiff, and a lot of people is in that mid-thoracic area there. So when we're working on extension of the spine, I'm going to be thinking that I want it to be happening up here, not so much down here. I'm not going to blow right into my lumbar spine. So hands, okay, up near the head, palms down. I'm going to take a breath in, and in this position, I want you to explore finding that transverse abdominis. So just being here, breath in, exhale, pull that belly towards the spine, okay? And I just gently, but it's just like you're just pulling it away from the mat. Imagine that you have a little ladybug underneath you and you don't want to squish that ladybug. Just pulling that up. So breath in through the ribs, exhale, pull that navel up towards your spine, save the ladybug. And you're going to start thinking about length through your spine. So my head's reaching away from my tailbone. I'm lengthening my spine. I'm starting my gaze and I'm looking up, pushing my elbows towards my buttocks. I can squeeze my buttocks a little bit, getting those back extensors coming in. And for me, this is about where I go. I want to go up about to my rib cage and then back down. Okay, some of you will be more flexible than I am here. So breath in, exhale, pull up that navel, pull the elbows towards the heels, lift your sternum. Think about your breastbone, your heart, shining across the room to the opposite wall. Watch your neck position. We don't want to go into hyperextension there. Lengthen your neck and then come back down. Do a couple more. Breath in, exhale, elbows towards my feet, lifting my head. My gaze starts looking up across the room, lifting my breastbone. Scapula sliding down into the small of my back. Hold there, and then come on back down. Again, if this is uncomfortable, you have a pillow underneath your stomach, or you don't come up so high. Last one. Breath in, exhale, pull up those abdominals, lift. Sternum coming up. Gaze going across the room. And then coming back down. Okay, we're going to get a little bit more active extension now. That's, you have the arms helping here. Here we're going to be using the muscles in our back, in our buttocks area, coming up into a little bit of more active extension. It's called the dart. So I'm going to take my breath in, exhale, gently pull my navel to my spine, and just lift, barely lifting the head, arms, feet up off the ground. Okay, I'm going to come to where I am comfortable here. And then coming back down. Breath in, pull that navel up, scapula back and down, lift those shoulder blades together, legs up off the floor, head just barely off the floor. I'm not arching my neck, I'm keeping a long spine as I come back up and back down. Breath in, exhale. Pull that navel to the spine, shoulder blades back and down. Lengthen, lift, hold. And come on back down. You're going to have your arms come up in front of you. Let's come back into a child's pose. Doing a little bit of stretching through there. You can have your legs wide if that's more comfortable. Just sit back. Let yourself just relax there. Okay, let's come on to hands and knees position, okay? And here we're gonna play around, finding our neutral spine position. So remember your hand triangle? You're gonna have to visualize it being a little bit different here, but try and get your pubic bone and your belly button in the same plane. Hands underneath your shoulders, okay? Knees underneath your hips. And let's play just a little bit of articulation here. So we're just gonna go down into a cat, like you're a pregnant cat. Let your belly sink down and then curl that tailbone underneath you. Head looking at your pubic bone. So just a little spinal articulation. Again, feeling the spine move one vertebra at a time. Good way to sort of decompress. Couple more times. When I'm in this position on my hands and knees, we haven't talked about the scapula as much. We'll do that next time and talk about some scapula stability. So when my hands are down here, I'm thinking about pushing my pinkies away from each other, stabilizing my shoulder blades. Let's get in this long position again, and we're going to do just some opposite arm and leg extensions. So on this one, I'm finding my length in my spine, neutral spine position, okay? And now I'm going to extend an arm and a leg up off of that. So I'm reaching my arm and leg long, not so much up as I come back in. So this is where we're working on our stabilization. I'm going to try and not shift my body too much, okay? And come back in. Keep length through your spine. Breath in, exhale, engage those lower abdominals. Reach an arm and leg long off your body. And if I'm thinking about my stabilization, I'm not going to be rocking that tray on my back. So I have a tray, my martinis are on my back again. And I'm not going to spill those martinis. On my stabilizing arm, with hand on the ground, I'm thinking about pushing my hand into the ground, keeping a stable scapula. Just going to alternate one more time each side. I want you paying attention. How hard is it for you to stay centered when you shift? You really have to move laterally, and you have to bring in a little bit more of your stabilizers there. Great. So come back, a little bit of stretch. You're going to come up into sitting position. Get on those sit bones, get tall, and just a few breaths. So today was a beginning, looking at finding those deep abdominal muscles, feeling that length in our spine, organizing our head, shoulders, rib cage, pelvis over each other. So take those lessons and put them into real life. So it's feeling what's going on to your body, being mindful throughout the day, and trying to take these principles with you in everyday life. Next time we'll focus a little bit different, get into some sideline stuff, doing some scapular stabilization, moving the hips in the sideline position, and maybe some plank and core stuff. So email me if you have any questions. Wednesday is Rebecca doing her workout Wednesdays, and Billy has a great thing on Thursdays working on your mobility. So all different kinds of ways to stay active and moving. I want you to stay long, tall, little bit of engagement throughout the rest of this week. Thanks for showing up, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Stay happy.
Thank you. That's wonderful.
Okay.
Thanks,
It's a
Gail.
work in progress. So send me any emails on different things you want, but we're just going to explore.
Oh, it all sounds
There.
great to me. It was perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.